Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Primary Market Chatter. This is the November 4th week edition, second part of the episode brought to you by Sunday Investing, where we discuss kind of the IPOs which are coming in from a fundamentals perspective and talk about how and what we feel about them. The format remains the same, but just want to highlight if anyone is joining us for the first time. This is not a recommendation to apply or not apply. Think of it just as a show, just as a supplement to what you are doing, and do not consider it as a blind apply or not apply recommendation. We are not SEBI registered to be able to do that. Point two, which I want to highlight is that if you miss any of the IPOs or just generally are not able to keep track of the space schedule, because I understand we can be slightly wavered, we try and keep it at Sunday 9:30 p.m. But still, if you feel that that's not something which works for you, the YouTube channel, link to the YouTube channel is in the pinned comments. Go ahead and follow that. What we have also done is we started doing some uh, editing where we kind of talk about the companies in a bit and then start going into a audio monologue. So that would also be helpful for everyone if they can follow the channel. But let us know if you saw the last video, how did you find it? Having said that, let me set up the agenda for today. This should be a relatively short space. I am hoping we'll cover it in half an hour, but yeah, let's see. So we are planning to cover three companies today. We'll start with Abha Power and Steel and then go to Rajputana Biodiesel and then end with Apex EcoTech. All of three of them are SMEs, and I was just looking at it from a very high level. Saw that very interestingly, all three of them have like 50 CR of revenue in FY24. Are they pegged at different valuations? But yeah, like not very different. All of them are also raising around the same capital. Anywhere between 25 to 30 CR is the capital which they are raising. So having said that, let's just directly step into the reviews and then first start talking about Abha Power and Steel. So Abha Power and Steel is in the business of casting and manufacturing iron and steel products. It has two foundries located in Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. It's a 36.5 CR IPO, out of which 31 CR is fresh issue, and the company is raising 36.5 CR at a market cap of 140 CR. The company's financials are 51 CR top line and 4 CR, around 4-ish CR bottom line in FY24, and the LM is Horizon. So with that, maybe I'll hand it over to Tanmay. Tanmay, do you want to go ahead and talk about your reading of the company?
I'll just do some correction. The IPO size is 38.5, not 36.5. Okay. So Abha Power and Steel Limited is a Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh based company which is engaged in the manufacturing of steel castings and allied iron and steel products. It supplies these products to the railway subcontractors, then the cement industry, then the oil and gas industry. I think their 74% revenue comes from the subcontractors from the railway. Matlab, that aligning between the railway tracks is made by it. मतलब उसमें ज़्यादा कुछ मोट नहीं है, but it does that business. So the company is basically raising 38.5 crores, out of which 31 crores is the fresh issue and 7.5 crores is the offer for sale. Out of 31 crores, the company is going to spend 16.3 crores capex for modernization of their existing steel plants in Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh. Okay. It will spend 3 crores for working capital, 4.2 crore listing expenses, and 7.5 crore general corporate purposes. So this capex will enable the company to produce high value castings, which will be used in the railway and oil and gas industry. Okay. And this facility or the modernization is expected to get commenced in August 25, means that plants will start generating revenues, or the high value products will be made from roughly third quarter of next financial, means we can see the impact in the second half of next financial year from this. So this, first of all, the capacity utilization is 37%, and post this capex, the utilization of the rest facility should go up as the production of the high value castings and the allied products starts. The company did a revenue of 55 crores in FY23 and the PAT was 1.4 crores. Okay. In FY24, the revenue dropped to 52 crores, which was roughly a degrowth of 6-7%. But the PAT almost I think 2.5 times to 3.8 crores. and the company has reported the financials for this FY25 of 7.5 months till 15th of October. So the revenue was 37.5 crores and the PAT was 3.6 crores. Means out of nowhere the OPM go triples from almost triples from 6% to 16% just before the IPO without any kind of, I think, not anything efficiencies or nothing has been happened, but just margins have increased just before the IPO. So the company has shown its two peers in the RHP. One is Nailcast and one is Bhagwati. See, Nailcast is actually a very, very large size company. It is currently available at a market cap of, I think, a bit less than 1,000 crores, and it does a 1,300 crore revenue at 19p, but it does a OPM of, I think, 8.5 or to 9% approx. But this company, being a 50 crore revenue company, and thus, I think, actually low value products than Nailcast is claiming to have 16% margins. This company also has a debt of 22 crores. This, just take the market cap, 139 crores. At 139 crores, the IPO has came, means it is roughly 37 times on FY24, and on FY25 TTM basis, it's 27 times. First of all, this business has no moat. Every small manufacturer can do this casting business, and this large railway subcontractors aligning with them is actually not a big deal. 77% comes from the railways, is expected to actually even go up because the high value castings will be made for that industry only, and I think small portion will go to oil and gas. The debt is not getting repaid. Working capital, what calculations they have given doesn't show that they are expecting much growth. I think the valuations are expensive, and I think the company might do well, but it will take at least 1.5 years to prove. And I think the margins at 16%, this industry actually cannot, I think ideally this industry doesn't do an OPM beyond 8 to 10 or max 11%, but they're claiming to do 16% just before IPO. I think I would say that the company is bad or something, but it's, I think, not an investable grade business. I think there is no, I think no reason why should I invest in the company, just like the last IPO, Onyx Biotech. I think nothing bad with the company, but there was no reason to invest. The same goes here. The LM is the same of Onyx Biotech for a reason. I think so. I think it's an avoid from my part, and I think not at all an investable business. And I think this is not even an IPO ready firm, so avoid from my part.
Got it. Understood. So yeah, I was also looking at it. मैंने भी ये देखा था कि इनका पैट अचानक से बढ़ गया है. जो उनने पिछले साल पूरे में पैट किया तो उतना लगभग उनने around 5.5 months में ही पैट कर दिया था. What I didn't understand was why did they give results for 5.5 months? Like if you see the results are only available till 15th October. So either give till 30th September or give till end of September. This is probably the first company where I'm seeing a half-month result. Is it something which is common or anything which you're seeing?
No, I think it has happened with few companies. I'm not recalling the name, but I've seen that 15. Even I think I've seen a company which reported 3 weeks number also. I think it was like 2-3 months back. So I think it's not very uncommon, but yes, rare to see.
Got it. So anything which management has said, I couldn't find any interview. Is there any interview which is available?
यार मतलब सच बोलो ना यार, कंपनी ना मतलब ऐसा इतना बोरिंग है ना कि ज्यादा मतलब डेप्थ में जाने का मतलब यार ऐसा अंदर से इच्छा ही नहीं होता. ऐसा एकदम नॉर्मल ऐसा न्यूट्रल सा कंपनी है एकदम, मतलब एवरेज बिजनेस काइंड ऑफ, बट फाइनेंशियल्स आर, आई थिंक मार्जिन्स आर कुक्ड. आई थिंक थोड़ा सी मतलब लैक ऑफ क्लैरिटी, एंड आई थिंक द नथिंग बिजनेस है. सो मतलब haven't went in that management interview kind of thing. ऊपर से ही अवॉइड ही लग रहा है, तो no need to go in that.
Yeah, I had also a similar view. Plus, there's a OFS as well, right? There's a 7 CR OFS in this, which is also slightly concerning. Not a big OFS as such, but yeah, it's at least like some
No, I
part of
think
it is going into OFS
if we
when the
just
company.
add up, if we just add up the GCP listing expenses and OFS, I think it's roughly, I think 15, 19, 19, almost 50, 49 to 50% of the IPO is listing expenses, GCP and OFS. I think it doesn't make sense actually, but ठीक है, such a small company.
Got it. So, and anything that you saw on the anchor book side, anything which found interesting Although this is a fixed price issue, sorry. Yeah. So this is a fixed price issue, तो anchor book है ही नहीं इसमें, right?
राइट राइट, मैं वही सोच रहा था, मैंने एंकर बुक कैसे देखना भूल गया, देन आई सॉ कि यार नहीं है, इसमें तो एंकर बुक ही नहीं है.
हाँ, मैंने भी अभी देखा. It's a fixed price issue. Got it. So yeah, again, very blah business as such. Doesn't seem super interesting. With that, maybe we'll go to the second business and talk about it, which is Apex EcoTech. पहले Apex EcoTech कर लेते हैं और उसके बाद we'll kind of move towards the last issue, which is Rajputana BioTech, Biodiesel. I understand quite a few people want to listen to Rajputana Biodiesel. एक नया वीडियो भी आया है एसएमई वाले अंकल का राजपूताना बायोडीजल का. So there was some queries with respect to that as well. But yeah, we'll go to it. Before that, let's start with Apex EcoTech. The company provides wastewater treatment, recycling, and reuse solutions, and is again one of the themes which has been coming, which is just wastewater recycling. So the company is also bringing in its IPO at the time when this segment is pretty hot. If I talk about the company's IPO details, it's a 26.5 CR IPO, all fresh issue. And the market cap is like 100 CR, 96 CR, something like that. And the company has done 53 CR revenue and 6.6 CR PAT in FY24. So it's coming relatively cheaper at like 16p, 15p, something like that. And the LM is Share India. So with that, having set that up, maybe I will move it to Rohit to kind of give a high level review of Apex EcoTech.
Thanks, Manish. So I'll cover Apex. Interesting company. It's a small company. So this is a 25 crore IPO. Funds are being raised primarily for working capital needs. So this company is into this water treatment space where we've seen quite a few plays in the last, I'd say, few months. The most recent one, the allotment will come today, which is Enviro. That's in the broad space, not specifically what these guys do. We have FWA, we had VVIP, both of which have done well post-listing. Depending, of course, on what price you entered at. Apex is slightly different from, the Enviro VVIPs of the world, which are largely municipal, government sort of, urban and, sort of government tenders and government sewage treatment. Whereas what Apex does is closer to what FWA, does as a company, which is more on the industrial side. So they work with, say metal industry companies, automotive industry companies, pharma industry companies, where you'll have a lot of, wastewater generated from the various processes. And before that gets discharged, the government has sort of come quite hard on company 2-3 years ago. I think they'd done a study and found that the actual treatment of wastewater is very weak. I think some 15-17% of wastewater is actually getting treated. And now in the last few years, it's, what companies could once upon a time get away with sort of very weak, recycling sort of process. Now that's a lot harder, and all these new industrial plants, are coming with sort of full scale, high quality wastewater treatment. And that is the sort of, I'd say, structural tailwind this industry has. These guys do, most of the buzzwords that you'd hear if you study the space, whether it is zero liquid discharge, dewatering, ultra purification, filtration, like all of those things these guys do as part of their capabilities. So as such, on the fundamentals, on the capabilities, the company looks quite good. The company itself has done over 250 projects. Mostly they're very, very small projects, few crores, 1-2 crores, several lakhs, few crores. But more recently, the good thing is they've started doing larger and larger projects, and they even have like 140 crore order from L&T, which is good. It's a good sign that they're starting to get large single orders, because that's how companies grow. Their order book also is pretty diverse with excellent clients. They have clients like, historically, they've got clients like, say, Ashok Leyland, Haldiram's, Honda, a lot of Japanese corporations. They have Mahindra, PepsiCo. So very interesting mix of clients. And so overall, the base that the company, or the fundamentals of the company, looks pretty good. The revenue of the company, if you just look at the last 3 years, is pretty decent. Of course, many companies show this trend where, post-COVID, there's a big drop, and then the company sort of comes back. So in the last year, they did about 50 odd crore revenue. But here you can actually go back and look at their revenue pre-COVID. The last year before COVID, they did about 45 crore. So as such, if you look at it over the last 5 years, they've grown about 20%. The tailwinds, of course, are a lot stronger today than back then. So they did about 53 crore last year with a 12% PAT. If you look at their working capital projections, it looks like they can do about 70 crore, at least that's what they're targeting. But their H1 was pretty weak. I think they did only around 20-21 crore in H1. Now, heavy lifting in H2 is quite common in this segment. Both Felix and FA, which are probably the closest peers in the SME space with more of industrial wastewater treatment, they both have a very, very high skew towards H2, both on the margin front and on the revenue front. So I feel they can hit the 70 crore number and do like 50 odd crore in H2. But the one sort of key thing at least I noticed was, if you look at the salaries or the salary cost, and it specifically comes from the director's salary, there's been a big bump in the salary this year compared to last year. At a conceptual level, there is no problem with that. I mean, it's his company, or it's the promoter's company. They are entitled to the salary. They're generating it. They're taking it from the profits. The only problem is that even if they end up doing 70 crore this year, because there's almost a 1.5 crore increase in salary, I think no matter what happens, their PAT will be flat year on year. So that's just something to remember for anyone who intends to hold this for the medium term. I feel that whatever PAT they did in FY24, even if the top line grows, they cannot do more than that, just because all of that extra, margin goodness they get will just be eaten by this increase in director salary. So year on year, PAT will be flat. The company is coming at a 15 times FY24, which is quite cheap for this segment. So there's a good chance that this will actually list with some pop. I think around 25 types, 25x to banta hi hai, I feel. Just looking at what other players are getting in this space, like an FR trades at 30, 32, 33, something like that. But I do think that by the time the results turn up, there may not be a lot of, especially the results are flat. We've seen companies when they do flat year on year, PAT market just doesn't like it. So personally, I am just going to, I'll apply for this. I will play that sort of initial listing momentum and then I'll be out. I think if someone wants to hold it for the long term, it should be okay. The company, I did find the promoters to be quite articulate, quite professional. There is one interview. So I couldn't find anything very positive or very negative. It's just that in the medium term, I feel there will be a sort of natural pressure just because this company will not show year-on-year growth in PAT. Anchors are also pretty average. So there's nothing, stand out over there. One interesting name in pre-IPO, few people follow the sort of Dinesh Parekh, Sangeeta Parekh, so they're there in the pre-IPO. These are the guys behind Ganesha, Ecosphere, Race EcoChain, the main promoter in the Race EcoChain. They've done a bunch of pre-IPOs. In fact, they were one of the big pre-IPOs in Gem Enviro, which was a very hot stock, did really well post-listing and then also fell quite sharply. That's just another point for people who sort of track that kind of thing. So for me, it is an apply, but I will be applying very, very short term, not with a medium term or long term view. If they do well, if they get big orders, in H1 by H1 of next year, then maybe can consider it then. But I feel that the 6 month sort of view is not super positive.
Got it. And you're saying that this first H1 result, which is weak, is in line with the industry per se.
It's not unusual. Like if you see Felix last year, I think they did 1 CR PAT in H1 and 4 CR in H2. FA last year did 1.5, 2, something like that PAT in H1 and did like 12, 13 crore in H2. So that is not unusual. Here, the only thing, like I said, is just this. There will be a compression now this year because the salary component is going to go up. So if you just project the salary component for the full year, whatever you take as the full year revenue, it will pull down, it will pressurize the margin. So they will not maintain that 12% PAT that they did last year because the salary component itself will lead to 3% extra from that. And that's my concern.
Understood. Anything on the anchor book? You did mention that the anchor book.
Very normal. Rajasthan Global, LRSD, Kingsman, like just 4 names, very, very normal names.
Got it. And nothing which stands out for this company in terms of the moat or the business as such, right?
No, it's a small player. Yeah, I'm not sure. One thing is their order book, if you look at their execution order book, is actually not very geographically concentrated, which is good. Their clients are also not geographically concentrated. But at the end of the day, it's a small company, small player. Their balance sheet is actually pretty strong. They barely have any receivables, where one thing in the water segment, especially those who work in, like we saw that with Enviro, where the receivables were pretty decent, as in they were good. They were not very high. But generally in the water segment, receivables is a problem, especially when you work with the government, because they work primarily with private players. Their receivable days are very low. If you look at the yearly number, don't look at the mid-year H1 number, but March 24 number, for example, is very, very low receivables. So they're certainly running the business well, professionally, and so on. It's just that we are all, like, we as in this entire ecosystem, for right or wrong, we're very much PE focused, as in the PE multiple focused, and PE multiple will cause a problem in 6 months. But now I think it's fine. It is cheap at 15x. It looks worth applying and sort of riding it. I just will not hold it for very long. That's just my personal view.
Got it. So you're saying that at least at IPO price, it should not be a problem, right? Considering
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we should be able to meet the same pack versus if not able to beat it, right?
Yeah. See, one of the things again
If
with
they are
this,
able to do the 70, yeah.
see, one thing again with this is some people, when you don't have the full year number, FY24 full year number, they'll just divide and say, okay, H1 equal to H2. But that is clearly not the case in this sector. Usually H2 profit will be like 75-80%, and H1 will be like 10%, 20%. So if you just do a H1 equal to H2 on FY24 and then take the H1 of FY25, the P multiple will be higher. It'll be 20 odd. But I just looked at FY24 multiple alone, where we actually have the full year data and there's no seasonality effect. And it is at 15 times that, which is very reasonable, like relative to other companies in this sector. And this company should, with decent order book, it should show good growth, at least 20-30% it should grow this year. If that happens, the company is reasonably valued. It's definitely leaving stuff on the table. So I feel that short-term pop should happen. But I will, again, just not hold for very long.
Got it. Understood. Yeah. So that is what our view was of FX EcoTech. Just want to highlight that if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat box. We'll be taking any questions with respect to the three IPOs that have came in. Abha Power, Apex EcoTech, and the last company which we are going to move to right now, Rajputana BioTech. So maybe just setting it up for Yash, Rajputana Biodiesel, moving to that IPO. So Rajputana Biodiesel, around the same size IPO again. The company produces and supplies biofuels and its byproducts like glycerine, fatty acids, etc., and has an installed capacity of 25 kiloliters per day. Maybe would want to understand how does that impact and how much of it is utilized. But just highlighting some of the salient features of the IPO. It's a 25 CR IPO, all fresh issue, market cap of 91 CR. Again, all three companies are coming around the same market cap, and market is really not liking smaller size SMEs these days because of the whole ESM1, ESM2 drama right now. So let's see how that plays out. But yeah, the market cap is 91.4 CR. FY24 financials is 53 CR, revenue 4.5 CR PAT. So the company is coming at like 20 P FY24, and the LM is GYR Capital. So with that, maybe Yash, over to you if you can talk a bit about Rajputana Biodiesel. What was your read of the company?
Sure, Manish. So Rajputana Biodiesel is engaged in the business of manufacturing and supplying biofuels and its byproducts, which is glycerine and fatty acids. Uh, the company has a manufacturing unit in Rajasthan, which is spread over 4,000 square meters, and they have approved production capacity of 30 kiloliters per day, with an production capacity of 24 kiloliters per day on the date of the RHP was filed. Then the company is raising funds from the IPO to give a loan to its subsidiary for further capex, which is almost 4.2 crores. They'll give debt to its subsidiary for enhancing its capacity. The rest of the issue will be used to finance the working capital needs, जिसमें से 12 करोड़ का जाएगा, इसमें से IPO में से 12 करोड़ का वर्किंग कैपिटल के लिए जाएगा. The rest will be जनरल कॉर्पोरेट पर्पसेस. तो मेजरली 2 पॉइंट्स जो इसमें मेरे को मेन लगा, आई थिंक जैसे मनीष ने बोला भी कि आईपीओ वाले अंकल ने इस पे वीडियो बनाया है, एंड ही सेइंग दैट ही हैज क्यूटेड मेनी पॉइंट्स जिसमें ही इज स्पीकिंग अबाउट कि इधर इन्होंने बोला है कि लोन दिया है सब्सिडरी को, देन दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इन्वेस्टमेंट इन देयर सब्सिडरी. तो आई थिंक व्हाट द कंपनी मीन्स इन इज RHPs की वो दे आर ट्राइंग टू सी एज अ ROI के परस्पेक्टिव से सोच रहे हैं वो. तो अगर मैं लोन भी देता हूँ तो इट इज मोर ऑफ अ डेट टू द कंपनी तो वो देख रहे हैं कि हमने फंडिंग तो दिया है ना, मतलब जो मशीनरी वगैरह प्लांट वगैरह जो भी वो लेके आ रहे हैं, ऑलमोस्ट 3.8 करोड़ का मशीनरी वो लेके आएंगे। तो उसमें वो व्हाट दे मीन इज कि हमने इन्वेस्टमेंट ऐसे किया है कि भाई मैंने डेट दिया है एंड डेट के बाद मैं मशीनरी वगैरह एंड कैपेसिटी एनहेंसमेंट कर रहा हूँ। तो दैट इज व्हाट दे मीन। अगेन आई एम ऑल्सो एज्यूमिंग थिंग्स एंड ही इज ऑल्सो एज्यूमिंग थिंग्स, द गाय हु मेड द वीडियो। बट ऑलमोस्ट 3.8 करोड़ का मशीनरी करेंगे, देन 20 lakhs का सिविल वर्क करेंगे। देन वन मोर पॉइंट विच ही हाईलाइटेड वाज कि कैपेसिटी एनहांसमेंट में दे हैव रिटन 20 lakhs। तो व्हाट 20 lakhs इज, आई थिंक दिस इज द कॉस्ट ऑफ द रॉ मटेरियल फ्रॉम जिससे वो स्टार्ट करेंगे। क्योंकि आई चेक द मशीनरी में ऑलमोस्ट मेनी बॉयलर्स वगैरह, हीटिंग वेसल्स वगैरह, ये सब चीजें आ रही हैं जो कि ऑलमोस्ट 3.8 करोड़ की हैं। एंड जो ये कैपेक्स करने के बाद इनका जो कैपेसिटी बढ़ रहा है, वो कैपेसिटी इज ऑलमोस्ट 40 किलोलीटर्स पर डे हो जाएगा, जो कि अभी 20 है। तो ऑलमोस्ट 2 times हो रहा है कैपेसिटी उससे। एंड हाउ आई कैन वैलिडेट दिस इज कि अभी मैं जो इनका मेन प्लांट है, मतलब जो राजपुताना वाला है, एक्सक्लूडिंग द सब्सिडरी, अगर मैं राजपुताना का बैलेंस शीट देखूंगा तो उसमें भी जो इनका इक्विटी बेस है, इट्स ऑलमोस्ट ऑलमोस्ट 4.6 करोड़। एंड अगेन ये 4.2 करोड़ उठा रहा है विद द सेम कैपेसिटी। तो 24 किलोलीटर्स पर डे की कैपेसिटी पे अगर 4.6 करोड़ का मैंने इक्विटी से फंडिंग कर रखा है विद सम अमाउंट ऑफ डेट, एंड अगेन मैं अगर 3.8 करोड़ का फंडिंग उठा रहा हूँ पब्लिक से फॉर अगेन इंक्रीजिंग एनहांसिंग द कैपेसिटी फ्रॉम 20 to 40, तो 20 किलोलीटर्स पर डे का मैं वहां से कैपेसिटी बढ़ा रहा हूँ। तो इट मेक सेंस कि ऑलमोस्ट ऑलमोस्ट कुछ झोल झाला तो नहीं कर रहे हैं ये अपने मतलब आईपीओ प्रोसीड्स को लेके। देन 2 lines ऑन द इंडस्ट्री जिसपे मेजर इंडस्ट्री ग्रोथ सेटअप चल रहा है। इन 2018 इंडिया ने एक नेशनल पॉलिसी निकाला था जिसमें उन्होंने ब्लेंडिंग टारगेट सेट कर दिया था फॉर इथेनॉल एंड बायोडीजल। इथेनॉल का 20% टारगेट था बाय 2030 एंड बायोडीजल का 5% टारगेट था बाय 2030। तो मेजर जो स्टोरी चल रहा है बायोडीजल का इज दिस की 5% बाय 2030 तक करना है, विच वॉज 1% प्रीवियसली। एंड ये 5% करने के लिए 5% करने के लिए देर इज दिस होल अमाउंट ऑफ पॉलिसीज जो स्पेशली स्टेट्स में काफी अलग अलग हैं, बट मेजरली आई थिंक कोटियाक एंड दिस राजपुताना बोथ आर इन फ्रॉम राजस्थान। तो दोनों राजस्थान से ही हैं एंड राजस्थान में ही सबसे पहले एक्सेप्टेंस आया था इस चीज का। तो मेजर स्टोरी इस चीज पे ही रन हो रहा है। अगर मैं इनके बिजनेस स्ट्रेटजीज की बात करूं तो व्हाट दे आर डूइंग इज कि इन्होंने जो रिसेंटली अपनी सब्सिडरी में एनईपीएल में स्टेक लिया था 75% का, उसमें उसको ये लोग डेट देंगे, देन उस डेट से कैपेसिटी एक्सपेंशन करेंगे। देन कैपेसिटी एक्सपेंशन जब हो जाएगा तो ऑलमोस्ट 40 to 45 करोड़ ऑफ रेवेन्यू विल कम फ्रॉम दैट कैपेसिटी। एंड द मैनेजमेंट हैज रिटन इन देयर आरएचपी कि ऑलमोस्ट वन फुल ईयर में दे सी द रेवेन्यू पोटेंशियल ऑफ 40 to 45 करोड़। तो ऑलमोस्ट अभी जो इनका है कैपेसिटी, उस पे इन्होंने लास्ट ईयर 53 करोड़ का करा है रेवेन्यू, विच इज अगेन 24। बट ये 40 पे दे आर ट्राइंग टू गेट 40-50 करोड़ अगेन, क्योंकि उसमें 70% का ही फ्लो हो रहा है इनके पास। तो नेक्स्ट ईयर ऑलमोस्ट अगर फुल ऑप्टिमम यूटिलाइजेशन करते हैं तो उसमें अराउंड 75 to 90 करोड़ का 90 करोड़ तक का रेवेन्यू आ जाना चाहिए वहां से। Then further, what they are planning to do is, then they are planning to do again expansion in their unit 3, जिसमें वो लोग क्या करेंगे, they are trying to do backward integration। तो अभी क्या होता है कि मेजर ऑफ द कॉस्टिंग जो इसमें फ्लक्चुएट करता है वो फीड कॉस्ट का करता है, क्योंकि डिफरेंट ऑयल यूज करते हैं, एनिमल ऑयल यूज करते हैं। तो उस फीड कॉस्ट को कम करने के लिए, द कॉस्ट ऑफ मटेरियल्स को कम करने के लिए दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन, जिसमें दे स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग देयर ओन फीड स्टॉक, जिससे कंसिस्टेंट सप्लाई बना रहेगा एंड डिपेंडेंसी खत्म हो जाएगी ऑन एक्सटर्नल सोर्सेस। तो इस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए भी दे आर प्रोजेक्टिंग अराउंड 11 करोड़ ऑफ एक्सपेंशन, जिसमें 50 किलोलीटर्स का कैपेसिटी एनहांस होगा एंड फर्स्ट ईयर में 120 करोड़ का पोटेंशियल रेवेन्यू यहाँ से जनरेट होगा। तो दिस इज अगेन आई थिंक नेक्स्ट ईयर की बात हो रही है यहाँ पे। तो मोटा मोटी ये है कि ये कैपेसिटी एक्सपेंशन करने के बाद दे ऑलरेडी हैव प्लान्स कि अब हमें क्या करना है, विच इज अ गुड थिंग कि अभी ये कैपेसिटी बढ़ा दी, देन हम बैकवर्ड पीछे ले जाके रॉ मटेरियल की फीड कॉस्टिंग कम करते हैं एंड वहां से कैपेसिटी बढ़ाते हैं। तो चांस ऑफ मार्जिन इंप्रूवमेंट भी है कंपनी में, विच इज गुड थिंग। तो मोटा मोटी कंपनी तो डिसेंट लग रहा है, क्वाइट स्मॉलर देन कोटियाक, क्वाइट सिमिलर टू कोटियाक. कोटियाक में जो ऑयल्स यूज होते हैं दैट इज डिफरेंट. आई थिंक व्हाट दे यूज इज दे यूज स्टेरन ऑयल, एंड इसमें दे यूज डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ ऑयल, कुछ भी सोयाबीन ऑयल, वेजिटेबल्स ऑयल, ऐसे ऐसे यूज होते हैं. तो मोस्टली तो बिजनेस ऑलमोस्ट सेम है. इन टर्म्स ऑफ पैट मार्जिन की बात करूं अगर मैं दोनों कंपनीज की, तो FY24 में काफी जंप दिखा है हमें राजपूताना के. बट अगेन बाय लुकिंग एट कोटियाक आई थिंक दैट इज कम्प्लीटली फाइन, क्योंकि कंपनी जब पहले लिस्टेड नहीं होती है तो उससे पहले दे ट्राई टू शो वेरी लेस net profit margin because of tax purposes. But FY23, FY24 almost 7%, 8.5% का figures in net profit margin they have shown. EBITDA is quite consistent for last 2 years, 14-15% का EBITDA आ रहा है. Meanwhile, Kotiak का this year was almost 18% EBITDA. In terms of PE, कंपनी काफी चीप आ रही है compared to its peers, which is Kotiak. Almost 30-35 के PE पे है Kotiak, and राजपूताना भी 15 के पोस्ट इशू पे आ रहा है, which is quite reasonable. Market cap wise, the company is very small. I think तो small issue है, plus growth is there. So I think this should be a worth to apply. One more thing, in terms of financial, I would like to add कि इनका रेवेन्यू 2023 से 2024 में ऑलमोस्ट डबल हुआ, बट इन टर्म्स ऑफ द ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स इज ऑलमोस्ट सीन 2x स्पाइक. एंड अगेन अभी भी वो ऑलमोस्ट 15 करोड़ का ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स बैलेंस शीट में अटका हुआ है, 12 to 15 करोड़ का. तो 3 करोड़ के ट्रेड रिसीवेबल से ऑलमोस्ट 4 टाइम्स अगर ये इंक्रीज हो जाता है, तो दिस इज शोइंग कि मतलब कैश अच्छे से मैनेज नहीं कर पा रहा है. ऑल्दो छोटा कंपनी है तो नॉट से कि कंपनी के पास अभी उतना मोट होगा टू नेगोशिएट विद देयर कस्टमर्स, बट अगर इन्हें फ्यूचर में राउंड करना पड़ेगा, जो कि इन्होंने बोला है कि 11 करोड़ का इन्हें फंडिंग चाहिए है, तो आई थिंक देयर विल बी मोर डाइल्यूशन. तो अभी भी 66 के पोस्ट इशू पे आ रही है, 66, 65, 66 is what the promoter will hold. Then they'll again need 11 crores for working for new expansion. तो उसमें भी they'll have to dilute this. Meanwhile, Kotiak is sitting at almost 67% right now. तो डिपेंड करता है कि how they are converting their profits into cash. वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इनके लिए, वरना बड़ा डाइल्यूशन करना पड़ेगा. अगेन फिर से 10% तो ऑलमोस्ट डाइल्यूट करना पड़ेगा. बट मोटा मोटी कंपनी इज लुकिंग नाइस जिस वैल्यूएशन पे वो आ रहा है. आई थिंक लिस्टिंग गेन्स के लिए तो अप्लाई करना ही चाहिए, एंड देन सी वेयर द मार्केट टेक्स दिस. एंड LM भी अच्छा है, GYR.
Got it. And I'm seeing 65% holding after IPO, right? So
Correct.
90% was prior to IPO. So there's a pre-IPO as well, right?
Correct.
In the company. Anything interesting in pre-IPO or anchor book or anything that you saw?
No, I didn't look for pre-IPOs and
Got it. एंकर बुक मैंने अभी खोली है. HDFC बैंक तो है ही, लाइक विथ एवरी GYR. लाइक पहले हमें ये लगता था कि HDFC बैंक बड़े इश्यूज में आता है 100 CR, बट इट नाउ सीम्स दैट GYR का कोई भी इशू आएगा HDFC बैंक होगा उसमें. So yeah, HDFC Bank is there in the anchor book, and then this 9 Elms Trust, 9 Elms Opportunity Fund. I don't know what this is, but this is also, they have got the biggest stake. Like they have half the company that they have got through anchor book. Got it. And like at least in terms of like immediate listing gains, should like do you think it would be right to say that the market will try and probably like peg it at a Kotiak level, or do you think like Kotiak is superior, or this should get a lower in P multiple or anything like that?
आई थिंक कंपनी का बेस अभी काफी छोटा है, तो जर्नी तो काफी बचा है, प्लस द मार्केट इज ह्यूज फॉर देम. तो अभी तो स्मॉल बेस है, इंक्रीमेंटल ग्रोथ भी मिल सकता है यहाँ से. तो आई थिंक मार्केट विल गिव गुड वैल्यूएशन टू द कंपनी.
Got it. I was just looking at probably Kotiak P is now shrink to 35. When it had came, I'm looking at the screener chart. उसका Kotiak used to trade at like 70, 75 PE as well. So maybe there's a chance that this will also go to that PE as well. So Definitely seems very interesting for at least for listing gains and to get in at IPO price if it is possible, although it's a very small size IPO. Rohit, Tanmay, you guys have anything to add on?
बट कोटियाक में भी जब वो आया था तब उसका पी इसलिए भी हाई था क्योंकि आप उसका अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ देखो 2021 में 1 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट, देन 2022 में 9 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट, देन 14 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट. तो बिल्कुल हॉकी स्टिक प्रॉफिट्स बांट रहा है वो अपने इन टर्म्स ऑफ द अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ. तो अभी अब थोड़ा वही सीन है कि इसका मार्केट कैप भी छोटा है. तो मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ कि अभी पी इसको मार्केट ज्यादा दे भी सकता है. ऑलमोस्ट 30 तो मिलना ही चाहिए क्योंकि ग्रोथ काफी आनी बाकी है, प्लस इंडस्ट्री में टेलविंड्स भी काफी हैं.
Got it. Yeah, with that, we have kind of covered the three companies that we had for today. Tanmay, Rohit, do you guys have anything to add on Rajputana Biodiesel, or we could probably move to the priority of these three issues?
No, nothing specific. I think I just find it very interesting that MSME helpline guy, he seems to have found his niche now, which is to take RHPs, find points, don't apply your brain, and make everything seem negative. It's good that he's found a niche. Let's see how he does.
So that is the point, right? That pessimism always sells a lot more better. Like people will
Yeah.
always share negative news a lot more than positive news, although I'm not saying they shouldn't. But yeah, to each his own. To each. And like, I also read this tweet today from Ajay Thakur, the NSC guy, where he had said that there's a lot of speculation with bringing new IPOs on the SME front, especially if they're 100 to 150 CR. LMs are just like wanting to post them on main board rather than SMEs, and like for them, there's only one message, which is that try and do a lot more compliance. But if the company is coming in on a SME board, it cannot be 100% foolproof, right? Like, you can't expect a company which has a market cap of like, let's say 500 CR to have a governance of a top notch company which has like $1 billion valuation, right? So that is the whole point of a SME board, which I was slightly sad when I read that tweet.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it just means that people like this MSME helpline guy will always have content because there will always be some issues. You'll have to look past it. And the SME platform is not for, I mean, it was not intended for speculation / flipping, right? It was meant for people to take high risk bets that can give high returns or, may not perform at all. So it is for supposedly the more, I'd say sophisticated investor. It just of course become what it has now. That is what it is. But yeah, it has to be looked at from the lens of the size of the company and the capabilities and the eventual potential, as opposed to this has to be a perfect business today.
Yep, 100% agreed on that front. But yeah, with that, maybe we'll move forward to the last segment, which is what we are planning to do with the issues. So for me, it seems like a rather simple ask. What I'll do is I will apply whatever comes back from refund, although I hope minimum comes back from Enviro. But yeah, I know it was such a heavily subscribed issue that a lot will come back. So whatever comes back, I will apply into Rajputana Biodiesel tomorrow, and then whatever comes back from Rajesh Power today, I will apply to Apex EcoTech. So seems like a simple decision, at least for me on the 20th and 29th. I'm going to skip Abha. I don't think that deserves to be applied, even if it is like it just doesn't seem like a very interesting company to me. So I'm going to skip it. But yeah, that is what my plan is. Then Rohit, what are you guys going to do?
I'm also thinking the same. I'll just go full force in Rajputana, as I know that in Invero we are not going to get, I think, much allotment, or we'll get just one or two lots. Yes, that's everything. And I think one message I would like to give everyone is, I think the days when we are applying an IPO just based on the gray market premium are, I think, I won't say gone, but at least the risk has been increased by a very large margin. So I feel the people should see a company, or especially the IPO, beyond the view of the GMP, I'm not saying just go and read the RHP, but just see what the company does, at what valuation it is coming. I think it just takes 4-5 minutes, not more than that. But you can just safeguard your capital. I think the space was also done last week. I think 4 days, I think the very last week I had said, and even I think two more people had said ki don't apply Onyx Biotech. It's a nothing business. It went 500-600 times, listed at a discount of 12% and still below issue price. So what I want to say is just don't go completely by looking at GMP and make your own analysis. That's all.
Perfect. Over to you, Rohit.
I was just trying to see if there will be any differential subscription between Rajputana and Apex. I think 3,000 crore is blocked in C2C, and that will stay blocked this whole week in SNI. 3,000 has gone to this one at today's Rajesh Power. So now that the 13,000, assuming maximum 13,000, 3,000 is gone. So 10,000 is what is being played around. So actually, I think both of these IPOs are very small. So I don't think there's going to be a huge difference. Both will probably get similar sort of subscription. So it kind of makes sense to try and do as much, I think, in Rajputana Biodiesel, which will most likely open at 90%, it looks like, and then do whatever is left in Apex. That seems to be the better strategy, I would say.
Got it. Yash doesn't apply in IPO, so I'm not going to ask this question from Yash. But yeah, having said that, I'll kind of say this that if you guys have missed any of it or have joined in between, go ahead and follow the YouTube channel as well. Upar pinned comments my YouTube channel. And there's a question with respect to how to read RHPs or what to look for in RHPs as well in comments. We will probably do a video soon on that. There's a member only video in that. If you're interested, you can have a look at that. But yeah, we'll do a larger video for everyone on that, which we are currently going through, and we'll post it how to read RHPs, because I understand that's something which is a common topic and keeps coming back. So we'll do a video on that as well soon. But yeah, with that, one last question probably for the next 2 minutes. Tanmay, if you could give a very high level view of any December IPOs, mainboard IPOs, which you are tracking and are excited about, and we can kind of end the space there.
Okay. First, I'll just say which IPOs are expected to come. Whether I'm excited or not will be based on the pricing of the IPO. But I'll just mention some names which are, I think, highly expected in the coming month. The first one is, of course, Vishal Mega Mart, which would be a roughly 7,000 to 8,000 crore IPO complete OFS, which is expected in roughly second or third week. I think second week only. The second one is Mamta Machinery, whose RHP is expected very soon. That is a small IPO, but an interesting one. I think the third one is MobiKwik FinTech, the only profitable FinTech company. I know no one uses that, but still, it's profitable and have grown 40-60%. I think Avance Financial, worth 3,500 crore IPO, that is also expected. Then we can see Solar World. It's a solar EPC company. And interesting thing is, I think SJVN Green is its main, I think, a client who gives it 92% of its revenue. I think Transrail can also be expected. I think then there are few more there are few more issues, but this is the overall. I think NSDL was also expected. Even the Leela Hotels was expected. I think the list is long, but I think 4 or 5 issues are surely going to come in December, like Vishal, Mamta, MobiKwik, Avance. But yes, if the market sentiments and few listings go well, the list can go, I think, much long.
Yeah, I was also reading that a lot of the LMs are essentially advising the companies to wait it out and let the turbulent market period get over, and then I'm hoping and I'm assuming that when it rains, it floods. So everyone's waiting for that period when a few companies come in and they list well, and then you will see a lot of companies coming back to back. But until then, you'll probably have to wait and play with a few OFS or whatever opportunities you get to do.
Actually, what's happening is many companies are coming with the IPO, but what is commonly visible is the valuations at what the IPOs are coming are actually certainly expensive. If I just compare the, I think the sentiment or the mean P and P terms, I don't want to go in the P terms, but if even I consider then the valuations are almost 2 times in October, November than the rest complete year. I think we can just get the data. But I think what is happening is all companies want to price their IPO very, aggressively, and what the investor says like IPO का यार sentiment अच्छा नहीं है, market अच्छा नहीं है. But that's not the case. The case is companies are doing the pricing very expensive. So what happened today is NTPC came listed, went to the upper circuit. People say यार ये तो सस्ता था, ये था वो था, but actually this motivates the other companies to bring the IPO at an expensive valuation because they know the QIP are going to come and the issue is going to get sold and listing तो कैसे manage हो ही जाएगी. So I think that's not a good thing. Yes, risk takers made money, but for as a segment as a whole, it's not a good sign.
Agreed on that front. With that, maybe just want to highlight that next week seems like a slightly light week where we have 2-3 companies which are coming in. On the main board, you have Suraksha Diagnostics, so definitely look forward to that company. And then on the SME side, I think Nicest Finance will come because they've been publicizing quite openly. So I think that IPO is just around the corner. And it should be a big size SME IPO considering the PAT which they have. But yeah, that is what. Tanmay, do you have any updates specifics in terms of any other IPOs which are coming in?
I think this 2-3 IPOs are already declared. Agrawal, Tough and Glass, and then this Nisus is expected. Suraksha is there. I think one more IPO was already declared. I'm not able to get the name. Let me check. I think
I will see how
there was one. Ganesh.
I think Ganesha InfoWorld, yeah.
98
That's a
crore. I
wipro.
think there is a REIT also, but yes,
REIT as well,
we will
right?
not
I was
cover
seeing
the
the
REIT.
listing price of that REIT is like 10 point, each one share is 10.5 lakhs or some crazy amount like that, right?
Correct. And listing is not, no, I think what REITs have come in history is like listing is 2-3% always, or at very par, and rest of doesn't do anything in 2-3. It's a dividend kind of. I'm not actually very good in it, but yes, REITs are which
We can cover it
makes
as well. It
investors.
would be interesting if I get
I
too
think
much
Mamta was
information. I
expected to
don't know.
come. Actually, Mamta was expected to file RHP, I think, in this week itself, but hasn't filed it. Don't know, is it postponed or I think शायद कल आ जाए RHP. Don't know, but that was also expected very soon.
Got it. With that, we'll kind of close this episode. That's pretty much it from our side, guys. Thank you so much for joining. We will see you next week, probably on a Sunday. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.